Tonight on First Block, the irresistible David Alan Grier comes home to Detroit.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, cast. Tech don't take no job.
Legendary horror host The Ghoul up to his old tricks.
Hey!
And talented local filmmakers compete for the spotlight and a trip to Sundance. Hello and welcome to First Block from the top of the Madison Building in the heart of Detroit. We all have our favorite TV stars, especially the ones who make us laugh. On today's show, you'll meet two people who've been doing that for years. Renowned comedian and actor David Alan Grier and cult favorite horror host The Ghoul. Spending time with each of them is a roller coaster because you never know which way they'll go next, but it's always a thrill ride. Plus later, we'll introduce you to some of our city's budding storytellers. But let's start with one of the funniest people on the planet who grew up here in Detroit. He's been nominated for a Grammy, for a Tony 3 times, and Comedy Central named him one of the top 100 stand-ups of all time. Now David Alan Grier, affectionately known as Dag, is starring in The Carmichael Show on Local 4 and in the upcoming NBC Live musical, The Wiz.
S-O-C-K-I-T, sock it to me. Baby, my head is shaking, my bras too tight, my hips are shaking from left to right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, cast. Tech don't take no job.
Cass Tech High School alumni know that cheer. It's burned into Class of 74 graduate David Alan Grier's brain, one of many fond memories of growing up in Detroit.
I loved Cass, man. This is big time stuff.
This is a Cass Tech. That's your school right here, yeah.
I'm above Della Reese and Diana Ross. Who are they?
Dag's counselor at Cass Tech, Irving Berg, inspired one of his most memorable characters on the smash hit sketch comedy show In Living Color.
I think it's high time you heard Mr. McAfee's speech on work, son. If you don't plan on doing it right, plan on doing it again, boy.
At the height of In Living Color's popularity, Mr. Berg sent Dag a letter.
He said, "Dear Mr. Grier, I hope you remember me. I was your counselor." He said, "These kids don't believe that I'm the impetus for Al McAfee," because he was. You know, when I would do this guy with one leg.
It's for your own good, son. Hey, you know, I think it's high time you heard Mr. McAfee's speech on drugs, Buster. Stay away from goofballs, because they make you goofy.
I'm having an S.
For the love of Pete, look at those pupils. You're goofy right now, aren't you, mister?
And he said, "Please write me back. Please write me back so I can prove to these kids that I know somebody famous." And I wrote back, "No." Revenge is mine. No, but he was great. He was a great teacher. I loved him a lot, man. He was really cool.
Dag went on to the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, where Madonna was a classmate.
We were in the same ballet class. And I told my friends, I was like, "Dude, these are the most beautiful women on campus." They're like, "You take ballet?" I was like, "Yeah, you should too." It's funny, a friend of mine, we all went to a school together. After Madonna became really big and famous, he saw her in New York and he was like, "Madonna." She was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm famous." She goes, "I'm a friend of David Alan Grier." She turned and she went, "David?" I was like, that made me feel great. Because you was like, "David, ooh."
U of M led to Yale Drama School and eventually Broadway.
When I graduated, I made a deal with God. I said, "Look, just give me one job." Because, you know, my parents were there. This was the first time my father was speechless. He had tears. He was like, "Man, how'd you do this?" And I was like, my fingers were crossed behind my back. I was like, "Please, God, give me one job to make these people think I'm gonna make it. Then if I don't work for 10 years, I'm good." So I got this play, this lead in this Broadway play about the life of Jackie Robinson, a musical. Everyone came, it was the opening night. They panned it, the show closed in 3.5 weeks. But I was off and running, you know what I mean? My parents were like, "Man, he was on Broadway."
Off and running with more roles in theater and movies.
Just friends, huh?
Yes. Just friends.
And of course, television.
I don't know if we could do men on film now, because that is politically incorrect, madam. To this day, there's not a day that goes by that someone doesn't compliment me or mention that show in a positive way, which, you know, is maddening. You know, sometimes you just want to end it all. But throughout it, you gotta say, "Hey, I own it. I can't run away."
Even though you'd like to.
every day. No, I love In Living Color, and I love the memory of it, and I love that people are still talking about it.
Now Dag plays the patriarch on The Carmichael Show, the comedy hit of last summer, now renewed for a second season.
Where's Mom?
In the kitchen where a woman belongs. I'm just kidding. She's in the kitchen. It's her choice.
And Dag will be a main attraction as the Cowardly Lion in The Wiz live on NBC.
I'm really excited to be playing the Cowardly Lion. It's a part that I love. I personally think it's the best part in the show. Never played it before in my life. And more importantly, my daughter, my 7-year-old daughter, Lulu, is very excited about this. She said, Daddy, are you gonna look like a lion? I said, it's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna have dreads, all kind of wild stuff. We're doing a whole new vision of the lion.
You grew up in a pretty politically active family. Your dad, mom were very socially conscious, very culturally.
We marched with Martin Luther King Jr. here in Detroit. You probably know, history buffs know that, he did a version of the I Have a Dream speech here in Detroit before the March on Washington. And, as a kid, when I got into high school, junior high, I always felt like, well, I was too young to really enjoy the 60s. And as I got older, I went, wait a minute, I did this. So very much, I experienced the 60s in a very unique and awesome and wonderful way. Yeah.
This is your city. You're obviously very proud of your city. When you come back here after growing up here in the 70s, what do you think about it now? And what do you think about where it's going? Because we on the up and up.
You can only be optimistic. I mean, after coming through bankruptcy, I was really, really worried about the Art Institute and their art collection, because it's one of the finest art collections in the country, and hoping that it would be preserved. And that was really distressing to read about. I mean, I grew up going to the Art Institute. We used to watch films. They had a film like Society that I went to all through high school. I met a guy in a bar in Harlem who said he bought the Penobscot building. And I was like, it was after midnight and alcohol was involved. But I don't know. Should I believe it? He seemed convinced. Much like the Brooklyn Bridge, that he said he bought the Penobscot building and he bought the Saks Fifth Avenue building. I said, you didn't get Fisher Theater? It was right there, dude. Buy Belle Isle. Why buy a building? I'm trying to get Belle Isle.
With Dag, you never know what's going to happen.
I didn't really have an interest in being an actor until I went to college. Because I was at Cass. Guarantee you this is my brother. Bingo! There he is. Watch this. Jeffrey? Yeah, I'm doing an interview. I'm on TV right now. I have to call you back. He's not hanging up. Yeah, I gotta go now. Okay, goodbye. I have to hang up on him every time. He's like, so you doing an interview? Yes. Yeah. On TV? Yeah. So is it Channel 4? Yeah. So where's the station at? I'm like, I have to go now. All right then, well click.
And remember, you can see Dag in The Wiz live on December 3rd here on Local 4. He is a funny guy. Can't wait to see it. Coming up, a look at the film that won its creator a trip to Sundance, plus many of the other amazing entries in Film Challenge Detroit. But first, hiya. Get to know the Ghoul, the classic horror host who still has a cult following. If the phrase "stay sick, scratch glass, turn blue" makes you smile, chances are you're a child of the 70s in Detroit. With his trademark catchphrases, lab coat, and glasses, the Ghoul made a big impression on a whole generation. Our Lauren Podell has a special connection with a cult classic.
Elvira, Svengoolie, Sir Graves Ghastly, Count Scary, Wolfman Mac. All stars in the long tradition of late-night TV horror hosts, but none captured the imagination of Detroit viewers in the 70s and 80s like the Ghoul.
And while a lot of you have memories of watching the Ghoul back in the day on TV, I have memories of being on set with him, seeing the Ghoul in action. See, the Ghoul is a family friend, and that's what brings us here to the WCSX radio station. Because if there's anyone that knows anything about the Ghoul, it's my dad.
It was just an era of television at the time. You didn't have 1,500 channels. It wasn't so politically correct. And he was involved with the community. I mean, he had local bands on. He had local artists on. He, took your letters and read them. He posted your posters on the wall. He embraced people who embraced him. Plus, he's just a lovable guy. To know Ron Swede personally, he's a very humble, very quiet guy. The bits were great. And what I loved about it, kind of being in the business, is that there was no teleprompter. There was no script. This was total chaos on TV.
My dad, Doug Podell, first met the Ghoul, also known as Ron Swede, in Cleveland, where Swede is from. In the 60s, Ghoulardi ruled Cleveland airwaves. As a teenager, Swede worked on his show. When Ernie Anderson, who played Ghoulardi, left to become the voice of the ABC network, it gave Swede an idea.
So I asked him, would you give me permission to revive the character in Cleveland? He said it won't work, but go ahead, give it a shot.
You're watching this show, you gotta be an illiterate moron. But you're my kind of guy.
Swede kept the same Ghoulardi look, but took a new name. And the Ghoul show was such a hit, it was syndicated in 7 of the biggest cities across the country, including Detroit.
Right from the start, day one, it eclipsed the popularity in Cleveland. Detroit just went nuts over the show.
There is ghoul fever in this town. They like you here.
Well, Detroit has always been good to their king and their leader, Howard.
What can you say? They've been my best fans ever since. I mean, I'm from Cleveland, and the show originated in Cleveland, but Detroit's been, like the sixth psychotic capital of ghoul power land.
Except for the occasional special, the show's been off the air for 30 years, but hundreds still line up to meet the Ghoul at appearances around town.
How are you? Awesome. Boy, you're a good-looking guy, I gotta tell you. It's mind-blowing. It's, you saw how the crowd was today. It's, they have long memories, and they remember it. And, I watched you when I was a kid. Well, thanks a lot for making me feel old, but, and they get their kids to watch YouTube. It's on YouTube. I don't know how the segments got on there, but YouTube's full of the Ghoul. And so, like, little 12-year-old guy had me sign his shirt that he bought today, and he's going out as the Ghoul for Halloween.
There wasn't a lot to do as a kid on a Saturday night, and you had the Ghoul, and of course you weren't supposed to watch him, which made him really appealing. We would have to sneak off to the basement because my dad wouldn't let us watch it.
Fans remember the celebrity guests like Vincent Price and Muhammad Ali.
Because he was just such a gentle, nice, quiet guy. And I said, I know I should know better because I'm in the business. But you were just so laid back and quiet, you'd never know it. And all of a sudden he jumped up. I said, Ghoul. Then he turned into Muhammad Ali. You listen to me now, Ghoul. Are you listening? Yes, sir, I'm listening to you. You never let the fans figure out who you are or what you are. You always keep them guessing, because once they figure you out, they'll go somewhere else, Ghoul. You understand, Ghoul? Yes, sir.
They also remember all of the explosions and the Ghoul's amphibian arch nemesis.
What I remember most is Froggy and the bits where he would blow up, Froggy, or blow up a pumpkin, or, that was the best. I mean, you waited all night for him to blow up something.
I walked through a Toys R Us one time, and they had a whole wall of those rubber frogs, which goes back to the 50s. Show called The Buster Brown Show, and Froggy was on it, and hiya gang, hiya. And I figured, well, okay, I'll buy a Froggy. It'll do a one-time bit. I'll beat him to death with a baseball bat or whatever, and that'll be it. So we did Froggy, and the doggone rubber frog got more mail than I did the following week. So I bought out Toys R Us, the whole wall, because we'd put them in blenders, cut them up with power mowers, put them on fans, go flying off the blades. Anyway, you figure you can destroy a rubber frog, I did. We weren't uptight about scripting. I would never do dialogue or anything. I'd have our musical cues to come into it and then a particular musical cue to get us out. But what happened in between, I would just verbally tell everyone how we wanted to do it. And always would try to do it on a first take. Rarely would, no matter what happened, you know, a flat could fall on a guy and kill him. And, you know, we'd drag him off the set later and notify his next of kin. It was like a family. They'd do anything for me, I'd do anything for them. And we just, again, had a blast doing it.
My dad is still good friends with the Ghoul. He even made an appearance on the Doc of Rock's weekly Comcast show, Rock 900.
Hold out your hand. And here's some cheeseware! They don't get better than the Ghoul's Vault of Golden Garbage! When I first started in the 70s, church groups were warning the parishioners not to let your kids watch the Ghoul, and he's gonna let them down the road of moral decay. And then towards the end of the 70s, I think I was often some lady who had been signing autographs for her in the family. She came, I just had to come back from the car. I just wanted to thank you for doing a show where the whole family can watch. And so I went full circle from the most feared man on television to the family entertainment guy.
Today's army of Ghoul fans still have marching orders from their king and leader.
All right, Detroit fans, my 10-star generals in the Ghoul Power Army. I would like you to remember that I love you and I want you to stay sick, turn blue, scratch glass, climb walls, and most importantly of all, do it while you can, but don't get caught. Hey!
He is over the top, and you can see more from our time with the Ghoul on the First Block page of clickondetroit.com. How the Ghoul met the Beatles, plus never-before-told stories even the biggest Ghoul fans haven't heard. Well, many entered, but there's only one winner of Local 4's first ever Film Challenge Detroit. Meet the filmmaker who took top prize. That's next. From Evil Dead and Spider-Man director Sam Raimi to Top Gun and Pirates of the Caribbean producer Jerry Bruckheimer, some of the biggest movies of the past quarter century came from the imaginations of filmmakers from Detroit. WDIV Local 4 launched a contest to find the next generation of talented filmmakers, and Jason Colthorpe has a look at the Film Challenge Detroit entries and the winner.
Always dreamed of making a movie? Got an incredible story to tell? Here's your chance. Introducing Film Challenge Detroit.
We put out the call to local filmmakers. Create and submit a short film, and you could win a trip to the Sundance Film Festival. The only rules, it must be 5 to 15 minutes and fit the theme of resurgence or a comeback story.
I like for my work to inspire and motivate other people to actually get up and go and chase their dreams.
The outpouring of talent was immense.
This is a real competition. This isn't like some little competition. These films are amazing. Like, this felt like the big leagues.
There were several. I'd watch it and go, oh, this is gonna be my winner for sure. And then you'd catch the next one and it's like, okay, this is gonna be my winner.
We received entries from action adventures to the avant-garde, documentaries, dramas, comedies, and more. The storytelling skill was so impressive, narrowing the field to just 10 submissions was no easy task. Viewers had their say at clickondetroit.com, voting for their favorite entry, but viewer votes only counted for part of the final tally. Our judges would have to make the ultimate decision. Greg Russell is a noted film critic and can be seen on WDIV during his weekly movie roundup segment.
I know it's almost going to sound like something from an award show, but you're all winners.
Professor Kyle Edwards is program director of Oakland University's Cinema Studies program.
Well, it's a great honor, really, to be asked, and for me, it's really exciting.
And our own Devin Skillion, anchor, author, singer-songwriter, and lover of all things Detroit.
I mean, this was not just, let's go out, and my dad's got a barn, we'll put on a show. This was so much more than that, and I was really, I loved being a part of it. This is just great to see this creative energy in Detroit.
It's come down to this red carpet event at DIME, the Detroit Institute of Music Education. We're screening the top 10 films in front of a packed house.
On May 10th, our nation participated in its largest food drive. The U.S. letter carrier Stamp Out Hunger.
That means ballerina Trixie kidnapped Stacy Carmax, so she needs these deeds.
And we need Stacy. We need to set up a meeting.
How are we gonna do that?
Oops, sorry, Daddy.
How are we gonna do that?
I got a plan.
So when I come with this passionate aggression, it won't be a coincidence on how I made it to the top without a slip or a drop and remaining true to who I am, which is so unorthodox. Or what you think I'm not? Then try to find somebody else like me.
This is Wednesday.
There wasn't a Detroit team. So I talked to Lawrence Cam, the founder of Street Soccer USA, talked to Mel Young, the founder of the Homeless World Cup, and I said, with my company, Global Performance Academy, we'd like to train a group of homeless people here in Detroit.
Where are you?
She's dead. I could have helped her, and she's dead. I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this. I just want to be numb.
Well done. The judging was incredibly close. Like, the top 5 were all within points, single points. It was incredibly close. Without further ado, this year's winner of Film Challenge Detroit, our inaugural contest. The judges' victor is The Eulogy by Matt Santia. The top honors went to The Eulogy, directed by Kyle Couch and written by Matt Santia.
I just was completely shocked. There's so many great films, so much depth, and so much talent.
It was unbelievable. It was absolutely unbelievable.
The film revolves around a woman who has hit rock bottom. Her outlook is anything but positive when a chance meeting and a surprising request turns her life completely around.
My wife, actually, this is her story. This is a segment, obviously a small clippet of her story. I remember hearing her tell me this story and being like, that's an amazing, like that's almost sounds like a movie. And you know, I met with Matt and we both brainstormed. He went back and he wrote it. And you know, it was just, it was almost seems like it was made for a movie.
Much like the character in their film, the guys see this opportunity as their own chance at a brighter future.
We want to move into feature films. Yeah. And we've actually been drafting a script. Matt's been drafting a script for our next feature film. And so we definitely, our sights are set on bigger things.
If this even helps one person, then we did our job.
And what about that grand prize trip to Sundance?
Absolutely, it's a dream come true. It's awesome.
To see the top 10 films, including the winner, go to clickondetroit.com and look for Film Challenge Detroit under the contest tab. And if you didn't enter this year, get your ideas ready for next year's contest. Remember, here at First Block, we're interested in digging deeper into stories going on all around us and introducing you to the wonderfully talented and unique people who make up our community. If you have a story you want us to know about, drop us a line and tell us about it. And I'll see you on another edition of First Block soon, and of course every day on Local 4 News. Thanks for watching, everybody.